It is time for our WTIM morning show right here on WTIM, your information station. Thanks so much to our live stream sponsors, People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark. On the phone line now, we have Dr. Kent Redfield, Professor Emeritus of Political Science from the University of Illinois. Good morning, Dr. Redfield. How are you?
Doing just fine.
Awesome. And thank you so much for being here with us. We're 42 days away from the election here. So let's get started talking about some national polling out there. What have you been taking away from just the general national polls? I know there's so many polls taken, and we're getting some set numbers now.
Yeah, they're starting to solidify. When you get closer to the election, pollsters switch from registered voters to likely voters, and that's a more difficult polling task because whether you're registered or not is a fixed point. Whether you actually are going to vote and is more difficult to screen for, and so you will get some variations. If every major polling firm has kind of their secret sauce about how they figure out who really is a likely voter. And so, you get polls at this point that, will be outliers and stuff, but good polling organizations, they're polling, 3-day running averages over time sort of thing. Right now, Vice President Harris is up slightly in the national polls, but the Electoral College is extremely close. The other thing you have to keep in mind about polling is that's it's a statistical technique. And so when someone tells you that, the latest, one of the latest polls was, 49 to 45, well, that's probably plus or minus, 2-3%. So it could be, the gap could be 1 point, the gap could be 7 points. And then that's only, that's 95% of the time. So 5% of the time you put that poll out there, you're going to get something that's outside the margin of error. So these are just, you look for trends. You don't, you shouldn't get real excited about, a single poll or slight movement at this point. And it probably will come down to about 6-7 battleground states, and the Electoral College, when it's all said and done.
Wow, we're going to get talking about those battleground states in just a little bit more about polling. I saw numbers immediately after even the debate happened, and then we see constant poll numbers that are changing from so many different organizations out there. So you mentioned the changes from registered to likely. Is it as simple as having that registered voter and then looking into their voting past and then seeing how they have voted in the past? Is that kind of how we're getting those numbers?
It depends. I mean, if you're doing a random sample, which is the best way to go about this, then you're really taking the voters, you ask questions. Did you vote in the last election? Are you paying attention? Sort of, you can do some screening questions, but, people lie to pollsters. And so you have to, they try to screen, but, and to adjust. But this is just a snapshot. And, and it is also doesn't, it does not predict who's actually going to show up. And so this election undoubtedly will be a turnout election. The side that is the most enthusiastic and gets its voters to the polls, is probably going to win in these very, very close states that are going to make a difference.
Wow. Okay. Of course, it's the race to 270, correct? It's 270 Electoral College votes.
Yeah, it's yes. Yeah. And the numbers are determined by every state gets 2 votes for having 2 senators, and then 1 vote for each congressional district. And so Illinois has 2 senators, 17 districts. We have 19 electoral votes, and so that's where the numbers, the Electoral College numbers come from. And why you can have somebody elected through the Electoral College that didn't carry the popular vote nationally is these are all winner take all kind of, so if you win by 1,000 or 1,000,000, that doesn't get you any more electoral votes in a particular state. And so, we have, with a very, evenly split country and all of the different variations of political geography, then it just, it's going to be, hopefully you'll get a clear decision election night, but we certainly, lately have been having these things drag out into the next day and even into the next week.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into those places that are going to be the difference there, those battleground states. And it almost looks like geographically this can be split. I mean, you mentioned kind of blue wall and that whole thing. So which states are really going to be pushing for which side here?
Yeah, if the Democrats' strength has been Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. I mean, it's a block of votes that are, they have gone. Pennsylvania has won back and forth. Wisconsin, Michigan. If the Democrats can hold, if Harris can hold all of those, she's in pretty good shape. If she loses Pennsylvania, then we're looking at a bunch of southern states, which are, southern part of the United States: North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, probably the principal ones. And then, if she does not win Pennsylvania, she probably has to win 2 out of 3 between North Carolina, Georgia, and Arizona. Conversely, if Trump wins Pennsylvania, he probably only needs to win 2 of those states down in that southern group. And so, neither candidate is coming to Illinois looking for money. I'm looking for votes at this point. If they're in Illinois, they're probably raising money. And so most of the country misses the election. We just don't see a lot of ads unless they're on, you still have cable and you're on looking at national TV. You don't see a lot of ads in Illinois.
Right. And I've even heard some rumblings, and I want to know if you've heard any of these, of a flip, maybe even in a contested race that they wouldn't have thought so in Texas, in Florida. Have you been hearing about those conversations?
Well, that they are doing better. Harris is doing better than Democrats have done for quite a while in some of those states. It is still a long shot, and if Texas were in play, if Florida were in play, that would be a Democratic landslide. Conversely, if you got, if Virginia were to go for Trump, and you found that early in the evening election, on the day of the election, that would signal real trouble for the Democrats. And so you do want to watch these ones that are a little more volatile, but seem to be, both sides are pretty confident about what they've got locked up. But, that would be a huge warning sign if you've got what has been, a swingy but reliable Democrat or Republican state flipping early on in terms of the early results.
Sure. Dr. Redfield, final wrap-up words for our current state of the presidential race conversation here?
I think the important thing is to get out and vote. There are lots of down ballot, congressional races, local races, and even though Illinois is, not going to turn the presidential election, there's a lot of important races out there that people need to participate in.
Absolutely. We're going to talk Illinois congressional races when we come back from this break. We have Dr. Kent Redfield on the line, Professor Emeritus of Political Science out at the University of Illinois. Thanks so much to our live stream sponsors, People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark. We'll be right back here on WTIM, your information station.
Your information station, WTIM. Hi, this is Jeff Robinson with Advanced Title Group Incorporated in Taylorville. We are Christian County's only locally owned title company with over 100 years of title experience in our office. Whether you are selling, buying, building, or refinancing your home, farm, business, or land, choose Advanced Title Group. Visit us at advancedtitlegroup.com, stop in on the northwest corner of the Taylorville Square, or call 824-8007. Advanced Title Group, excellence with integrity and experience.
Hey there, it's Raimi Miller, personal and business coach, and also owner of Run Deep Coaching, and a Taylorville native now living in the Northern Illinois area. I have the pleasure of helping people strengthen the relationship with themselves and others virtually, no matter where they are. Seeing what's possible for people is the highlight of my job. For example, I support people through job transitions, relationship changes, and developing new habits. Recently, I hosted a workshop and people walked away with hope, courage, feeling worthy and seen. I would love to connect with you. Feel free to reach out for a virtual complimentary 60-minute conversation to see if it's a good fit to work together one-on-one, or we can just simply discuss any upcoming events. My website is www.rundeepcoaching.com. That's www.rundeepcoaching.com. I am sending you so much support.
Summer is in the air, and with it comes the symphony of nature's sounds. But are you missing out on the beauty this season due to hearing loss? I'm Crystal Baker, owner of Specialized Hearing Solutions. Don't let another summer season pass you by in silence. Visit Specialized Hearing Solutions today and embrace the vibrant sounds of this beautiful season. Call 217-824-0411 to schedule your consultation. Specialized Hearing Solutions, where the sounds of summer come to life.
If you're like most people, finding extra money for your savings just doesn't happen. Hi, this is Casey Rankin at People's Bank and Trust, and we have the solution you've been looking for. Sign up for our Save by Spending Roundup program, and we'll round up your purchases to the next dollar, and then transfer that change to your savings account. It is as easy as shop, enjoy, and save. Start saving for the things you really want with our Save by Spending Roundup program. Call 888-TBT-1954 and let us put you and your savings first. People's Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
That feeling is in the air. It's getting cooler. The leaves are falling. It's fall. And that means bonfires, get-togethers, and farmer-owned Prairie Farms dairy products. Prairie Farms cottage cheese is a great salad or side dish. Dip your favorite vegetable into Prairie Farms' lineup of dips, including French onion and ranch, to make the taste pop. And Prairie Farms sour cream goes great on that baked potato you just took off the grill. Enjoy the fall season with these Prairie Farms dairy products in your grocery or convenience store dairy case.
Your information station, WTIM.
And welcome back into our WTIM morning show, this time with Dr. Kent Redfield, Professor Emeritus of Political Science from the University of Illinois. Thanks so much to the live stream sponsors, People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better at Landmark streaming live on Facebook, Taylorville Daily News, and on YouTube at WTIM TV. With Dr. Kent Redfield, that first half, we talked current state of the presidential race. Let's talk Illinois congressional races now. You a big point, talking point here on gerrymandering a little bit, Dr. Redfield. Just Illinois not being represented in the right way, or as the state as a whole. Break this down for us.
Okay, so at statewide race in Illinois, typically 56-44, Pritzker over Bailey in the last gubernatorial election. The Democrats have drawn the last three both legislative, state legislative and congressional maps. So the Democrats have 14 congressional districts, and the Republicans have 3 in terms of who we've sent to Congress. So that's 82% for the Democrats, and that's obviously not balanced at all. It doesn't reflect the political makeup of the state. Supreme Court has said, you can't use race, you can't discriminate on the basis of race in these maps. You have to have equal population, but they have not been willing to say political gerrymanders are not allowed. And so it really then gets left up to the state. And just, to illustrate that in central Illinois, Taylorville is in Mary Miller's district. And that's the the 15th district. But if you drive from Taylorville to Springfield, you're in in Brzezinski's district, the 13th. If you get to Western Sangamon County, you are now back in the 15th district. And so, they've drawn this district from Champaign to the Metro East, and then Mary Miller's district is, the Quad Cities, Quincy along the Missouri border, wraps around, Springfield and Champaign, and then goes to the Indiana border, and then comes down on the south side of Brzezinski's district. I mean, the only reason that's drawn that way is to create a Democratic district, and if all the Republican districts become essentially leftovers.
Yeah.
We could fix this through a citizens initiative. There have been 2 attempts to get it on the ballot. They both have failed. One was thrown off because of how it was written. One didn't get the signatures. But, it's going to be up to the states now, because the Supreme Court will not engage this.
It feels like you could just draw a horizontal line through the center half of Illinois there, and one the north half goes blue, the south half goes red. But I mean, what does it mean to you, the massive amount of population that exists near the city, near the suburbs, and then as you get lower down into Illinois, the population kind of disperses a little bit. But of course, there are different viewpoints down there. I mean, you mentioned it's going to be up to the states, it's going to be up to the citizens there to change that. But I mean, I hear the term that land can't vote. Is it still going to be representative if we put it up to the state like that?
Well, you still have the same guidelines. And so if you've got some states have essentially a commission that doesn't have any politicians on it, that is, draws maps, and then but they're subject to one man, one vote, not, any kind of racial discrimination. And then the biggest thing is communities of interest. And so Springfield used to have a state legislative race. Decatur used to have a state legislative district. You got to the point where, Springfield's Republican, Decatur tended to be Democrat. When you couldn't no longer elect a Democrat a senator to the state legislature, and the Democrats were drawing a map. Now we have a Senate district that is, about half of Springfield and 3/4 of Decatur, is sending a senator to Springfield. And so, that's, whereas, Springfield's a community of interest, Decatur's a community of interest. And so if you can focus on those kinds of criteria and you can put those in writing, then you won't get a situation where, the Republicans did this too. When they controlled the map, Champaign would be in one house district and Urbana would be in a different one. When the Democrats control the map, they put Champaign and Urbana in the same district. And so, both sides are going to do it unless you force them, get a neutral group to make the maps and then use principles like trying to maintain communities of interest.
Absolutely. And Dr. Redfield, as we're getting closer to the end of this, we got about 2 minutes left here. As we're getting closer to Election Day, about 42 days left, and you're looking at polls, you say don't put too much stock in these polls. It's a combination of a whole lot of statistics and factors out there. Where do you get your polling numbers from? And where do you what is your recommendation to direct us when we're looking to try to make some?
There are aggregates of polls, and so Real Clear Politics is a news site that collects a lot of information and has basically a dashboard. 538 is another group that aggregates polls and tries to get national averages and stuff. And so those are the kinds of places you need to look where people you're getting quality polls and then you're just looking for trend lines. But on Election Day, it's where's the enthusiasm? Who gets their people to the polls? And that's this is close enough. That's that's going to determine the outcome.
Perfect. I believe we will have another conversation before the election takes place. And Dr. Redfield, thank you so much for taking the time and speaking with us this morning.
Oh, certainly. Good to talk to you.
Absolutely. Always learn a whole lot with Dr. Ken Redfield, Professor Emeritus of Political Science from the University of Illinois. You've been listening to the WTIM Morning Show.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville, 96.1 W241 CF Taylorville, 107.5 W298 CD Shelbyville, 107.9 W300 EH Payne and Nokomis.
Townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. We're learning